What's up, everybody? One Fun Guy podcast in the studio, baby. We are hanging out tonight. Kelly's coming on with me. First things first, guys, I want to thank Matt for sending me his book, Everyone Dies, Rock Stars Don't Count. This was in addition to the movie that he had put out called Everyone Dies, Rock Stars Don't Count. I linked it in a video the other day, but I really want to thank Matt for sending that out. It's a great book, guys. It's all about the debauchery of heavy metal and rock and roll. Matt lived it, guys, so I know there's a lot of musicians out there that will say, that they have, the rock star lifestyle or whatever, but Matt really truly embraced it. So with that being said, I want to thank Matt. We're going to talk tonight when Kelly gets on about a couple things. I have Buckcherry tomorrow, guys, so I will stream that live if you guys follow me. Buckcherry is coming up tomorrow night. I'm just going to share it out to a few people, guys. Just hang tight real quick. I'm going to get as many people as I can on and in and around and see what's going on. I'm going to send this separately. There's a few people that I want to have on that I will say. So I am going to share it with a few people here. Hopefully you guys are on. If you are, say what's up. If you guys are around tonight, please say hi. Join me. Join Kelly. Follow him. Follow me. Kelly's got a bunch of stuff going on, guys. He is going to try to drop an EP by Black Friday. Excuse me. So, Jess, what's up? So yeah, I'm just hanging out tonight, guys. It's just going to be a fun live. Nothing too serious. It's just our podcast that we do together. Jess, thank you so much. I'm just trying to share this out to a few people here, guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to try to see who's on and see what we got going on. I shared it with Kelly, so hopefully he gets on in a little bit, guys. Sorry for the shaking. Amelia, what's up? So Amelia wants to get me on her team. So we'll see what happens, guys. She runs an agency. She's been chatting with me back and forth. My last agency, guys, as you know, I had a horrible experience with. So I'm not really the fondest of agencies right now, but I'll give them a shot and see what we can do. I don't know if I'm on here enough to even, be a influx and everything here. But Amelia is going to be in charge of my agency, so we're going to do that. Mel, what's going on? Melissa, what's going on? I'm just going to share it to a few more people, guys. If you can do me a favor and share it out. I don't usually do it when Kelly gets on, but if you guys could share out my show, if you like what you see here, guys, please, if you can, share it out for me. Do me a favor, help me out. Try to get it to as many people as we can. When we get to 1,000 likes, we hit the FYP. That's kind of my go-to, is to get people in front of me, guys. I don't have many TikTok goals. Like I said, guys, most of my goals are on YouTube. I am One Fun Guy podcast over on YouTube. But, it's nice to have friends and followers here, too. I'm not going to lie. I've met a lot of you guys here. A lot of you are OG for me. So, I appreciate the love and support. Some of you guys have been with me since the very beginning, which I appreciate it through you guys doing that for me. Kelly's up, so we're going to get him on. But if you guys could share this show and like it, I'm not going to ask again, guys. If you tap the screen, that's awesome. If you send us gifts, that's awesome. But we're just in it to have some fun tonight. So, Kelly, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. So not too bad on a Thursday night.
Awesome. Yeah, good. How you been?
I've been good. I went to see In This Moment in Milwaukee. I'm going to see Buckcherry tomorrow. So I got some other concerts lined up. I'm trying to get Oceano tickets. It's their final tour. So I don't know. Oceano's really heavy, guys. They're more like grindcore meets thrash meets deathcore. They're super heavy, guys. So Oceano's the real deal.
I've never heard of them, but that sounds like a good time.
Yeah. So, yeah, but other than that, that's it. I've just been hanging out, trying to go see as many shows as I can before the dead of winter and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had planned to go to the Liars Club Kiss karaoke last night, but doors were until 9. I was tired, and my wife wasn't feeling very good either, so
Right.
we kind of skipped it. But that would have been fun. And we have a show to play on Saturday as well, so we didn't want to sort of use up all our
Sure.
batteries for that. So
Yeah, no worries. I completely understand. You know, it's so weird because like, you know, it seems like when shows come, you might not have a good show for a very long time, and then all of a sudden it seems like they're back to back to back to back of like concerts, and I'm in that wave now. I had a lull with shows where I would go to one every maybe 3 or 4 months, and in October I've gone to three. So it's just kind of, you know, they just kind of creep up on you. So
yeah, yeah, there's going to be a few coming up. There's a small mini festival. Well, small in terms of space. It's at
right,
Livewire,
right,
but it's going to be like 7 bands at
okay,
Livewire on November 8th that I'm going to go see, and it's
okay.
$10 to get in.
Yeah,
So
that's the fastest one.
7 local bands for $10 at a venue that I enjoyed. That's going to be fun.
Ellie, what's up?
Hey, Ali. Yeah, but I honestly try to stay away a little bit from looking at all their shows I'm probably gonna miss because of situation. But I don't know if I told you about Health and Carpenter Brute are going to play at Salt Shed.
No, that'd be
Not till
awesome.
not till April. Salt Shed is as big of a venue that I'm willing to go to,
Yeah,
but Health and Carpenter Brute, on the same day,
yeah,
that should
that's
be
a good
good.
one.
Yeah. I'm going to Cobra Lounge now in November as well. A band my wife knows called War on Women.
Okay,
They're a hardcore feminist punk band. And they show up every so often, so we tend to go
okay.
say hi to.
Has your wife heard of Dogma yet?
What's that?
Dogma?
Dogma?
Introduce your wife to Dogma.
Oh, okay.
So they're playing
Uh,
with the Killer's Confession, and I kind of want to see them, but it's a night that I have stuff going on, so I'm trying to maneuver some things around. But Dogma is a 4-piece female group, and they dress as nuns with the black metal face paint. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they're
okay.
hardcore, but they're awesome.
I've seen that black metal nun bare chested female band, but I don't think that they're called Dogma. I think they're
No, Dogma's a
yeah.
completely Taylor. What's up? Dogma's a completely separate group, but they're like, um, they kind of have a Slayer esque sound, so they're heavy like that, but they're like without the like I don't want to say this without sounding like a jerk, but like without the makeup, they're hot, right? They're good looking girls, but they put like
Right.
the corpse paint and they dress as nuns and they're super heavy, so it's kind of nice there. Um, what's up,
Nice.
boys?
That sounds interesting for sure.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah. Yeah, what else is coming up? There's, like I said, I don't have that much on my radar, to be honest, because I have a quick look. There's some I'm looking out for. I don't know if I missed Igor coming to town, or if he just hasn't, or
yeah.
if they haven't scheduled a date yet. But
That's the
that's
one
what I
that's
don't
like
want to miss.
Iggoor, right? Isn't that like they spell it weird?
Yeah, Igor with 3 R's.
Okay, 3 hours. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's I'm loving the latest album they released, and I mean it's heavy stuff,
yeah.
but they're super creative and weird. Like there are parts with accordion, there are parts
Mm,
with polka or opera mixed in with like double kick drums
hmm.
and death metal growls and stuff. So it's super cool, and
Yeah,
and their process is really interesting too. So you can go down a rabbit hole and see like how did they record this stuff. And I think the first thing that made them sort of famous, viral video like, was that they had a piano part where they just put seeds on the piano keys and had a chicken play it.
okay,
Um, I just saw a video of, to get the right sound out of a guitar amp, they had to put the guitar amp outside and
okay,
then set it on fire. So,
okay.
they mic'd up a burning amp, and then also the mic started to burn. So,
Right.
So that was a one take thing. You better get it right on.
Yeah.
So they're definitely pushing the envelope in terms of what they can do. I saw a picture also. He was standing in front of like an 8 foot giant saw blade that also was used as percussion and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, really interesting band to look into.
I'll tell you, what's
But it sounds
amazing?
great.
I love when bands incorporate orchestra and some like symphony into the music. Like I am drawn to like Septic Flesh when they do it with the
Yeah.
piano and the violin. Like I don't, there's just something like eerily like romantic about it with like heavy music. It just works. I don't know.
Yeah, I love that too. Have you seen that Septic Flesh in Mexico City? I think it is, with a full symphony orchestra.
No, but that would have been awesome.
That's an entire show that it's professionally filmed and everything. So it sounds
Okay.
great. It looks great. Like it's a high quality TV production. So
Yeah, I'll definitely check that
look that
out.
up. Yeah, look that up. It's cool. It bugs me a little bit because they do a lot of the come on, raise your hands in the air. A little bit too much of that sort of thing. But on that, it sounds great.
Yeah, so right now I think the one show that would
I
be a
forget what it's
bucket
called, Ali.
would be a
But
bucket list
Septic
show.
Flesh live Mexico
Yeah,
City
Septic
with
Flesh.
symphony
Or
orchestra.
I think she might be talking about Igor, the Igorrr.
Oh, okay. So Igor, so it's Igorrr.
Yeah.
And the album is called Amen.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the preview for Parkway Drive, and man, what an incredible show that looks like. I posted it once before, but it's they do Crushed, and as they're singing, the singer's like levitating on the stage, like the chain is pulling them up, and then all of a sudden when the like intro hits, it's just pyro everywhere, like the whole stage is on fire. It looks awesome. Like it's kind of like Rammstein on steroids.
Nice. Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
cool. Are they arena sized just yet or no?
I would believe so. They
Yeah.
played in. I mean, it's hard to say because they played at Wacken and they played at Hellstock and they played at a couple other like those get 80, 90,000 people. So it's kind of unfair to say, but they did headline both of those. So I would say yes, they're arena size. And the way that their stage setup is, you couldn't do it in a small venue. You'd have to get a big, I mean, it's like it's kind of a mix between Madonna and Taylor Swift as far as like them levitating and being on ropes and being harnessed in, and that's how the whole band is harnessed because the stage turns and like it moves up and down, and so they're all locked in. So it's
Yeah. Sounds like Pink.
yeah,
Doesn't she
right.
do that? She does a
Yeah,
lot
she
of
flies the trapeze and stuff.
aerobatics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so that
Yeah. Oh, I made a post about this a couple of months ago, but there's speaking of symphonic metal, there's a guy. He's originally from Brazil, but he's in Austin, Texas now. Homoiousios, which is difficult to
mhm.
spell, but but I think that he also makes game music and stuff, so he's a little bit established on that side of things. But it is uh, the song is called "The Philosophy of something with the C." I forget, but
Okay.
anyway, super majestic. It's super heavy, but it's got massive orchestra. And what's a little bit fun is that there's an opera singer, but I think it's a guy that sings what sounds like a soprano. So
Okay.
and I think it's called countertenor or counter baritone or something like that.
Okay.
That a guy can go really high. And by contrast, the deep growls, those are sung by a woman. So
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
that's you wouldn't be able to tell when you listen to it, but it's a little bit fun.
I'll check it out. Yeah, that sounds
And
awesome.
the massive choir is only 3 people that he just tracked over and over and over again until it sounded like a massive choir. So
Okay.
also another one of those guys, like to do a lot with a little, like
Right.
just be creative about it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I love like interesting music, like, as far as like what people can do. I was actually gonna put this out. I forgot to do it. I saw it the other night. Have you seen that guy on Jimmy Kimmel? that Jimmy Kimmel leaves him a voice note about a song, and he takes his laptop and he makes a song about it in about 2 minutes, and he says, "This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take your tone. I'm going to drop it. Now I'm going to take it. I'm going to put a beat behind it, a drum kick behind it, and then all of a sudden, within about 3 minutes, he creates a song from Jimmy Kimmel's voicemail. It's the most incredible thing.
That's funny. I haven't seen that.
I'll send it to you if I find it. It was awesome
Yeah.
because it was like, it's just Jimmy Kimmel left about a 45-second song, some lyrics, and the guy turned it into a full song on his laptop on the show.
That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah,
I
so
would love to see that.
and then again, like I said, Author and Punisher is a great story, right? Like that's a single guy who's an engineer that makes a machine that plays music, and all of a sudden he puts out albums, and it's kind of Anal Nakroth. I know we've talked about them before. I mean, like, but the mind of two humans that could make that kind of music, sitting basically in their living room, and all of a sudden they put an album together. Like, I mean, how ingenious is that? That like they utilize the modern tools that we have, and the music's basically created off of a laptop. I mean, how awesome is that? Obviously
Yeah.
they're musicians and they know how to play the instruments, but I mean, to make an album with a laptop is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Author and Punisher, I think they'll be here in February.
Yeah, yeah,
So I want to go see that, but the tickets were a little bit on the pricey side.
They are.
But yeah, we'll see. But
Yeah.
I think that the common thing with all of these bands like Igor, Author, Punisher, those guys is that they don't give a shit. That's
Mhm.
also why they make their quick decisions. This sounds good. I'm gonna go with this. I don't give a shit what
Yeah.
people think. So I'm just running what sounds good to me, right? And that's how they can sound good because they feel it themselves, right?
Right.
They're not trying to please anybody else, but also that they don't give a damn.
Yeah, and that's the best way to be. I mean, if you make music that makes you happy, then and you put it out and other people like it, well, then you don't have to please the masses, right? I mean, you're not going out for mega fame. I mean, it hits right on Spotify or you kind of get a cult following, but I mean, you're putting out the music you want to make, right? So I mean, if you're happy, then that's all that matters, right? So and I happen to like it, so I mean, they're doing something right because it attracts my ear, so
Yeah.
kudos to them for trying.
Yeah, and I think that's a key way in the industry today too, to have staying power as well. Because if you sound like everybody else that comes up in your Spotify shuffle, then people don't remember you or seek you out for the next thing. Like you have to be like exceedingly good,
Right.
if you release an OSDM album now,
Right.
right? You have to be like extremely good.
Or you have help from a friend, right? So you call a guy that's a popular DJ or a popular musician, say, hey, can I put your name on my track? Can you remix this for me? And then you put out a song and it's got you give a shout out to him, and then all of a sudden it draws attraction because of his namesake or her namesake, which seems to be another popular thing in the music business now, where you have guest vocals or guest guitarists or guest drummers. You make a friend and you're like, hey, if you're by the studio, would you swing by and hit a couple notes for me? And then all of a sudden you get to put their name on your song, and then that has staying power as well, right? So
Yeah,
namesake
no,
does matter still. So
Yeah, no, that's true. But if you have that sound like an Author and Punisher or Igor or any of those, and it's like, this sounds really interesting, and maybe you're curious to listen to more of it, or when the next release comes out, then you seek that out yourself instead of just having it fed. So I think that's a key
And
thing.
I think more experimental music now is more appealing than the visual stuff, where like Guar was, they basically were a punk band and dressed in monster costumes, and they took off because no one had seen that before, really. And all of a sudden, it's like it seems now it's that way with music, right? The more interesting the music is, or the more eclectic the music is, people's ear catch it, as opposed to, five guys who dressed up in monster costumes and played music. It's been done before now. So I think experimental music is now the norm, right? People that would normally never have used synthesizers are using synthesizers, or people that wouldn't have ever used drum machines are double tracking down on the drums with the machine. So it's just it's new, but it still sounds good.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do as well. It's like I don't want to be limited to having guitar drum sounds, right? It's like, how can I make this bigger, and then try out synthesizers or whatever else might work. But I do think that the visual aspect still is a huge thing, but now we're looking more at people that get a mystery around them, like Ghost or
Yeah,
Sleep Token or Imperial Triumphant, or those bands that have their face and bodies entirely covered and no real names or whatever, right? So there's a mystique, but it's also the aesthetics of it. Like it has to look
sure.
pretty and eye-catching, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing is like everybody knows who the guys are in the band, right? I mean, like Tobias Forge hid his identity for about 30 days. And then, we took the picture with all the other guys and they're like, oh, that's the guy from Ghost. So like everybody knew it wasn't a secret. It was just cool, right? And he basically, took King Diamond's outfit and said, well, I'm just going to put a robe on and make myself a pope. King Diamond's been dressing like that for 30 years. It's no big, it's not anything different. He just changed the makeup a little bit and, put the outfit on, and all of a sudden it was a phenomenon, right? And it's, the same thing with Sleep Token. It's 4 dudes that are wearing sheets. It's been done before. You know what I mean? It's not anything, the music is good. I'm not going to deny it, like, but it's like their outfits aren't anything like, whoa, that's awesome. It's a charade. It's all been done before. It's just, in the music scene, people like that aspect of it, right? Slipknot's been around and they're kind of now, it's like, what's the new Slipknot?
Yeah.
And insert Sleep Token and there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that, the scary costumes have run its course for a bit now, right? It's like you can't look any worse than what bands have been doing, right? Like you can't get scarier than, I don't know, Slipknot maybe or whatever, right? Yeah. There was a band in Sweden called The Knife a decade or two ago, I think that their aesthetic looks very much like Sleep Token. Like Sleep Token probably may have seen the Knife, because they were pretty big. They won awards and stuff, but they were a little bit arty.
Because the one band that doesn't seem to get recognized very much for their masks, and they don't wear them all the time, but is the Hue, because they dress like the samurais. They have the One masks on when they and so like it didn't catch on, but like a lot of people have done it. But now I noticed the guy from Trivium, Matt Heffy, he's in a band called Ibakari, and he wears it. So he's got the One mask on now. So it's kind of like a tribal thing, but like a Japanese thing that kind of flows through. But the Hue they never caught on. So it just it's weird that some people are like, oh, that works. And then others like, we tried it and it didn't work.
Yeah. There's one man though that, formed in the 60s, and to this day, people don't know who's in the band or who were in the band. And it's the Residents. Like they had like tuxedos and their heads were just giant eyeballs. And then they had like almost a Necrogoblicon type old man dude in the front too singing. But I don't think that it's been publicized, at least, who the members actually are. Lots of names that, they know who the guy is that takes care of the distribution is or that sort of thing, but not really who's actually playing the music, It's some San Francisco art students probably, but, they are now old, but.
And it's fun because, like, when you get a band that comes out like that, like the guys that just dressed up as the presidents, they wore the masks. And, like, people are speculating who it is, right? They say it's the dude from Sleep Token who's just, wearing a Ronald Reagan mask. And they kind of took the idea from the Patrick Swayze movie with Keanu Reeves where they're the surfers and they rob the banks, right? But they're all wearing tuxedos with president masks on. It's kind of funny, right?
I was just going to say that we know that it's not Patrick Swayze. That's one,
right.
Maybe Keanu, and he's a guitar player.
He's a guitar player, right? Yeah.
It's Bill and Ted.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just unique that, a lot of the different bands that, we grew up listening to, kind of have morphed and taken, bits and pieces. And then, like we said before, everything comes in cycles. Like, in the 80s, synthesizers were really popular. In the 90s and early 2000s, they kind of disappeared. Limp Bizkit brought back the DJ, right? Having a turntable in a band. Slipknot kind of brought it back. And now synthesizers are all the rave again. Most bands are using them and, in a cool way. They kind of have that gothic kind of, appeal to them. And so, it's just a unique way to introduce that into, music that, might not have heard it before or seen it before. And it's, and the goth bands have been doing it for a long time. Like Raised in Black, there's always used synthesizers. Gene Loves Jezebel, Christian Death, they've always used synthesizers. They've never gone away from it. So.
Type of Negative. I heard something. Speaking of Type of Negative, I heard something that there's going to be an album of unreleased material coming out from them.
Yeah, and they said that they kind of want to tour again in remembrance of Peter Steele. I just don't know who they would have singing, in the band, in terms of like, obviously his stage presence is never going to be matched. You're not unless you find a guy who's 6'7" and looks like him. But I mean, for the most part, it would be interesting to see what they do with that. If they have like guest musicians that were like fans of theirs, or I know somebody said that they might have Phil Anselmo come and sing a few songs, that they might have people that could do it. So it's interesting, and I like it. I'm a big Typo fan. You're never going to replace Peter Steele, but I mean, like, all these bands are doing, paying homage to guys that have gone. Why not them?
Yeah. Yeah, I have someone I talk to, semi regularly, start as a follower to my TikTok thing, but he has a band now called Sun Don't Shine, which is the guitar player Kenny from Type O Negative is in it, and I believe the bass player from Crowbar is in it.
Okay.
And then there's some third band, I forget it right now, right this second, but I asked them if they were contemplating like playing Type O Negative stuff, because that's the biggest name draw that they would have to people come see their shows. It's like, oh, it's the guy from Type O, right? And he said that they weren't quite sure. They were debating it. They were going back and forth about, well, how do we do that without Pete? What songs what songs could we possibly play that people would say that, yes, that was great, as opposed to you sound like a cover band.
Sure. Or, I mean, you could also, introduce some of the Typo songs without lyrics, incorporated in the music, right? Take an intro from a certain song, or play a chorus of a certain song. You don't necessarily need a singer to do that.
Right. No, that's true.
And especially, Type O Negative was really heavy on the organ. So as long as somebody's able to play that part of it, a band is a band that plays it. I mean, there's plenty of Type O cover bands, that you could do without the vocals, and people would still go probably crazy for it. And
yeah, but I'm thinking a little bit that Type O Negative sort of resurgence in terms of the other members wanting to do something probably kind of sort of started with the Sun Don't Shine thing, because it was like, oh shit, there's a lot of people that are coming up with this.
Sure.
So maybe we should see what we can do and actually do something with it. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But I mean, to release an album of outtakes or unfinished tracks or demo tapes or whatever, I mean that always works. Nobody has to do anything. You don't have to tour that or anything like that, right? So
yeah, or remix, right? You can remix an album and re-release it. Modern technology and stuff like that. A lot of bands are going in the archives and putting stuff on digital now that was once made on tape or reel. Which is still my favorite way to listen to an album. When an album's reel to reel. But I mean, for the most part, now it's digitized, so you can remaster them and take out all the imperfections that were once there. So I mean, bands can do that kind of stuff. That's an easy workaround. And you know what? It's kind of cool that I don't know if Type O did that a whole lot, but I love like bands like Pantera where they never hit anything. I think Piss was the only song that they ever had that didn't make it to an album. They put all their stuff out. So I don't know how many Type O unreleased tracks there would have been, unless they were demos or something that they polished up. But I mean, Type O seems to be one of those bands that would have just laid it all out, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. You never know what the creative process is like, right? Like I said, some bands put out every song they write, and like Goo Goo Dolls, back in the 90s, I know that they started with 60 songs that they then narrowed down to the 13 or 14 that made the cut to the album. So there are definitely bands that are that are doing both. So I don't know how they worked.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting though. I mean, I'd be up for it. I mean, I was a huge Type O fan, right? Like I always liked that stuff. I love him. I love Poison Black, which is, it sounds like Type O Negative, but it was the guys from Sentence that when they retired, the singer and the guitarist went and formed Poison Black. So it's kind of, neat that they do more gothic type stuff like that. And, I like I said, him was awesome. They're a great band. Billy Bell is an awesome singer.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, maybe I should reach out to the guy.
yeah, it'd be
Corpse
interesting.
Paint Records is his account, but so he runs a label too.
Yeah,
But
that'd
reach
be
out and say,
interesting.
hey, can I remake some typo that they have
Yeah,
lying
that'd be
around?
awesome, right? That
No commitments.
sure.
I'll do it. I'll send it back, and if you think it's great, release it. I promise that I won't release it on my
Yeah.
own. Yeah,
Who knows? That
I
could be
can
the
sign a
big break,
contract
right?
that says that.
That's all you need, right?
That'd be cool. Like, what do you have to lose other than sending me
Nothing.
the stems?
You know,
Just send
I've
it.
always taken the approach in most of my adult life where I would rather ask and be told no than to never ask at all and then wonder what would have happened if you would have said something, right? Like I am a big advocate for just saying what you want to say and asking the question, right? Because you never know. Somebody might say, well, yeah, you know what, we'll give you a shot, right? Here's 3 songs, see what you can do.
Yeah. No, and that's I think I told you about that back in my fanzine days. That's
Hmm.
how it was run. It was like we could always ask a rock
Right.
festival that is
Yeah.
80,000 people if we can get backstage passes,
Right.
you know. And sure enough, here's 3. you know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what's going to happen,
So
right?
so yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, just call up people, and many of the sort of rock stars or whatever has come from that philosophy too. Just ask their press agent, stand on the side of the stage afterwards or whatever, and just give it a shot. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Speaking of that,
it's surprising how often it actually works.
yeah. Did you ever? I was reading a thing, and I don't know how true it is. I didn't look into the I guess relevance of the story, but they were telling the story about how Ace Frehley and Ozzy Osbourne went into the record store or I'm sorry, the guitar shop. Did you hear about that story? And
I think I read something, but yeah, remind
yeah,
me.
so it's basically Ace and Ozzy go into the thing, and Ace looks like a bum, and Ozzy's Ozzy. And so Ace said, "I want to see that Gibson Les Paul up on the thing," and the guy said, "You can't afford that." And Ace is like, "It doesn't matter. I want to see it. Right? Let me play it." So the guy hesitantly takes it down, and he's watching Ace the entire time. He didn't know Ozzy Osbourne was in the store. So the guy comes up, and tells Ace, he's like, "Listen, sir, I'm going to need this back. Like, I know you can't afford this." And Ace is wearing some like ripped jeans and some like, a t-shirt or whatever. And so Ozzy comes up and says, "Sir," and he's like, "Mr. Osborne, how can I help you?" And he goes, "You know who that is, right?" And the guy says, "No." He goes, "That's Ace Frehley." And the guy felt like terrible. And Ozzy said, "Listen," he goes, "We'll make this a learning experience." He goes, "But don't treat anybody that, be respectful to everybody who walks in the store, because you never know who's a struggling artist, who's and at this time, like Ace was pretty much unrecognizable. I think that, it was kind of in his more drinking days where he was kind of more bloated and puffy and wasn't the Ace that like you would recognize from Kiss. But nonetheless, the guy is super apologetic. He's like, I'm sorry. I learned my lesson. I'll always treat people with respect." So Ozzy says, "Listen, I have an idea." He goes, "Let's buy the guitar and gift it to a musician that we see on the street." He goes, "We're in New York. We see a bunch of guys." And Ace is like, "You want to buy this $850,000?" He goes, "Yeah, you go 425, I go 425, and we gift it." And he goes, "Well, I know you're in a much better financial situation than I am. Maybe, we can." And he says, "Listen, Ace, remember when we had nothing?" He goes, "Well, how awesome would it have been if one of our favorite rock stars would have gifted us a guitar or gifted us something in the music?" He's like, "We worked for everything we had." So they go in 425, they buy the guitar, they walk out of the shop, they're walking down the street, and they see some 19-year-old musician. And apparently the story goes as they introduce themselves, he goes, he didn't recognize them. And he was talking to them, and he goes, "Well, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Ozzy Osbourne, and this is my friend Ace Frehley." And the guy was like in shock because he didn't recognize him. And then he finally put 2 and 2 together, and they gifted him an $850,000 Gibson, and that's supposedly the story.
Holy shit! He better get good.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah,
So
no,
it's cool, right?
it's
Because
fun how
going
some
back
of
to,
these stories are coming out.
Obviously, we always hope for the best for yourself and your life. But I mean, what if they decide to give you 2 tracks, right? And they say, "Listen, mix it and see what you can do," right? You might be that 19-year-old kid, right? You're getting your break. That now it's full circle. So that's where I'm going with the story, right? Like hopefully, magical things will turn out for you, and that this might be your break. You know, you never know. You met some guy on a stream.
Yeah, but it could also be just like, if they
Sure.
would just send the multi tracks, and it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm sitting here working
Right.
on a type, that alone
Yeah.
just would be amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And like I said, it's we talk and we meet, and that's the one good thing about social media, right? As much as there is bad about it, networking and meeting people and making a connection is kind of the coolest thing about this, right? Because you never know who's going to come across your screen, and you meet somebody that says, "Hey, I know this person. I can get you." Awesome, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've had some interesting people. There's one guy
Yeah.
who's been the singer for Misfits.
Okay.
Not Danzig, but
Yeah.
when they
Michael
were doing
Graves.
the other Misfits thing, that guy, who
Yeah.
also has played guitar with Danzig and all that stuff, was a member of Sam Hain and stuff, just showed up on a live stream, and
Yeah.
I started a little chat a few days ago, and he showed up and started chatting with another guy that was in a struggling band or whatever, right? And gave some advice and shit. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
So people just come along, and I think the key thing is to never expect or feel like you have the right to or whatever, right? If you if you're just kind and with humiliation at least,
Yeah.
approach it. Like there's
And
like
I've always take the welcoming approach, right? You join our live, we say hi, we introduce ourselves, we interact, we encourage people to be interactive. Like, as long as you're welcoming and kind, most of the time people gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that will not let you in their live unless you send them a gift. Their motto, boot you. What's the point in that?
Yeah, no, that's true.
You know,
Yeah. No, and I mean, especially with some more established people, because they're used to dealing with so many assholes all the time. So someone that's showing some humility is probably a breath of fresh air too. It's like, hey,
yeah,
you seem
and like I said,
like
the kinder you are, and the more the more welcoming you are, and the more grateful you are, and the more humble you are, right? I'm not too good for anybody. I'll let anybody come and chat with me and talk to me, right? I don't care what your background is, what your as long as you're nice and cordial with me, and I'm nice and cordial with you, we'll have a good conversation. And I think the more welcoming you are, the better off it is, because then it shows your character and how genuine of a person you are.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Yeah,
comes
no,
through. People could see it.
being humble is super important. And we just told the story about Aussie. That is a good example of that. And there's tons of his humility are famous
Yeah,
too.
right.
The Henry Rollins story. Like, Henry Rollins was basically flown down last minute to open for Aussie at some arena, and he was like, hell, plays the show, get off the stage, and Aussie says, "Are they still there?" Who? Well, is the stadium, like, is there people there? Like, yeah, it's packed, man. You're freaking Aussie. It's like, I wasn't sure if they were still gonna stick around. Like, with honesty, he said that with honesty, like, he was just nervous that people just won't be interested anymore.
Yeah.
One
And
day,
here's the thing: the guy's the biggest rock star on the planet, probably one of the most recognizable people on the face of the earth, and humble to think that people aren't going to watch him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So now, let's follow up real quick. I know we're we kind of set a little bit of a time limit, but how's the EP going? How are the songs? How are things coming? How's your lives? How's your tell us a little bit into your world.
Yeah, so the EP is coming along just fine. I talked to a mentor I have, though, about the Black Friday drop, and he said, bad idea. Push it off till January, because first of all, Black Friday, nobody's home on Black Friday,
Right.
whatever, right? So bad choice there. And then as soon as that is, places that review stuff and all that stuff, they are deep in sort of the last push from the major labels, and and having their own holiday season, whatever, preparing for whatever, right? So he said, I picked a bad date, so I'm gonna push it out to January.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
but I figured, well, okay, well then I can squeeze in another tune on it probably, right? You know, I will have time to write a bit more. So that's going well. The
Okay.
lives, I haven't gone live for a week or two.
Okay.
It feels like what the type of lives that I've done is getting
Sure.
saturated. You know, like there's so many sort of,
Okay.
you know, listening parties out there. There are people that are doing it really well. So I'm trying to figure out, well, should I do that a bit and have other formats? So I'm sort of trying to find my way there a bit.
And then what was your experience like, real quick? You joined that group where you had to write 4 songs in 4 days or something like that. Whatever, was that a good experience for you? Did you learn from that, or was that kind of a waste, or how did you feel about that?
Yeah, no. So we had the one challenge where we had to sort of at least come up with some demo version of a song in 2 weeks,
Okay.
and that is the single I released last week,
Okay.
actually. So so I had the
Positive.
demo version, and then I was polishing it up and whatever for a
So
while.
positive experience then. That was good.
Yeah, and I need to do that more often too, right? You know, I need to be a lot quicker in production, you know, so I can
Okay.
come out with songs a lot more often than, you know, one song every 3-4 months. You know, that doesn't quite cut it. So
Sure. Um, the way that you write songs, do you come up with lyrics and music, or kind of both at the same time, or do you try to put music before lyrics, or how's your approach?
usually lyrics come very last.
Okay.
Usually, with the exception of the song that I just released last week, but usually the lyrics come last because, you know, I play around with the song structure a lot. And
Sure.
then once I feel like I have that down, that's also where I know where the vocals come in. And then I focus more on the cadence and the sound
Okay.
of the words more
Sure.
than what the
Yeah.
words are actually saying. I know
Right.
that, you know, to some people, their lyrics are the most important things, and they write songs around the lyrics, and
Right.
I hardly ever do. I mean, I hardly ever even know lyrics for favorite songs, even.
Okay.
You know, there are songs I've listened to 100 times, and I still don't know the lyrics to it.
Okay.
So I'm not very much of a lyrics guy. I'm more of, you know, the craft of creating the song. You
Yeah.
know, it's the trajectory of the song, right? And that goes, you know, even with the punk pop songs that I used to
Yeah.
write in my youth and up till now. So
Now, all those old songs that you used to have that are in your catalog, would you ever think about going back and pulling those out and saying maybe put a new spin on those, or maybe they become more edgy, or like is that something you kind of just want to let lay, or would you revisit some of that stuff?
I've toyed around with, you know, every once in a while I feel like, yeah, I want to write some punk pop or whatever, right? So sometimes I toy around with the idea of having a second, you know,
Sure.
thing, because those are a whole lot easier, and I can
Yeah.
throw those together a whole lot faster as
Right.
well, you know. Uh, yeah, there was one project I remember. It was a solo project. It was called Hiccup Truck, and it was a song a day. The song could not be longer than 30 seconds, but still had to have, you know, intro, verse, chorus,
Right.
or whatever, right? So that was when I think I got up to 12, 13 songs or whatever, and then I was like,
Yeah.
no, I'm tired of this. But yeah, no, so that can happen a lot faster. So I've toyed around with the idea.
So
But
what if you were to do something unique? You know how back in the day you used to have those metal albums like DRI and Mortician, and they'd write 60-second songs or 70-second songs where they just be pure blast beats, and it was like just
yeah,
noise, like death metal noise. What if you did something like that industrial, where you wrote like maybe like a 40 or 50-second song, but then that song would kind of like attach to the song before it. So as you played it, it was like one long 17-minute album divided into like 65 or 70 different 30-second clips, like they used to
yeah,
play.
that's a good idea. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, with the EP thing, the way I thought about it, you know, is, you know, so I've been working on the songs kind of simultaneously, just to not maybe seamlessly, but at least so the the sequence of the songs make sense as an EP. So it's not just like, here's a collection of 5 random songs, but rather that they sort of go well together and have a, a
Yeah,
coherence
because
to.
Mortician used to be like that. You'd buy a Mortician CD, it was like 24 minutes long, and it was like, 37 or 38, 40-second songs. And then they just kind of all seamlessly flowed together to make the album. But they didn't write it in one long 24-minute song and then just section it off. They were like individual songs that kind of flowed, and it was just always unique because obviously it was horror themed and it was more metal driven and it was more, but like it seems like no one does that anymore. It's just kind of weird.
That is a cool idea. That I'm gonna keep that in the back of my head. It does sound like a fun thing to do, for sure. And that's something that I can do on the side in the meantime, also, right?
Because the industrial music, and it's really like infancy. The way that it turned into everything, right? It kind of seemed like it was a kind of like lost art, right? It seems that like a lot of the mechanics of the music, like the earlier industrial stuff, for most people, it didn't really catch, and those were kind of like the like more genuine songs of like the bands like Bauhaus started doing it, where they would take like more goth and then they would add more piano, heavy organ, heavy synth into like what turned into basically, goth industrial music, where it seems like, as the way it is now, it flows better, but like in the very beginning it was very raw, and it's like that kind of is like a lost sound now.
Yeah, and I mean the curse for industrial a little bit was, Nine Inch Nails and Ministry made it big, so that's what industrial started to sound like, everywhere. But before that broke out, you had, Skinny Puppy, you had Fetus, you had Killing Joke, you had Malhavoc, you had, a lot of these bands that were doing very different things, and experimented from album to album and tried, whatever, right? And it could be sometimes just noise and sometimes a good dancey beat or whatever, right? But it was definitely a lot more sort of creative and free form at the time, until sort of it got famous, when everybody wanted to replicate the fame. That would be a cool place to get back to, and I feel like the world is ready for it right now too, like especially when people are really responding to Igor and those types of things, right? So
yeah, and obviously I've said it 1,000 times before, like I hope that you're that link to bringing it mainstream again, right? That you do something that is catchy and people like it, and that the Arsenic name gets huge, right? Because obviously I want to see you successful and to be this huge musician that you want to be and deserve to be. And it's just kind of cool that like you're brainstorming this stuff now, but like a year from now, 2 years from now, you put something out that's special, and it hits somebody's ear, and they might say, hey, who is this guy from the Chicagoland area? And then the next thing you know, right, it's your break. So
yeah, or if it is like, let's say 8 months from now, I release an album with 15 45-second songs,
right,
and people are like, holy crap, that was the coolest thing. It's like, yeah, I remember
yeah, right.
I
So
was
that's
chatting on a podcast with my buddy. That's
so that's
started.
it's cool because like every time you come on, before you get on, I always tell people to support you, go to your stuff, do it, because like I'm a small voice, but I do have some followers that are loyal to me and what I'm doing, and they appreciate you, and they appreciate the stuff I put out. So I tag a lot of different bands and a lot of different stuff. But I mean, like, the stuff that matters to me is the stuff I keep reposting over and over again, which is like every time you put something out, I always share it, because it's meaningful to me, right? Like, I want to see you succeed, and I want to see you put out the best music you can, and it makes me happy when you do. So like, when I see the energy and the excitement coming from you when you talk about it, which makes me smile and happy, because like I can feel your passion for this, and it's awesome.
Yeah, no, and I can't say thank you enough to you either. I mean, you were one of the first people when I first started TikTok to take me on, and that's what we're still doing. And I mean, your voice is bigger than mine. You have 3 times as many followers as me or something like that as well. So it really makes a huge difference. You're, such a great advocate
You
for
know,
me, and I've
yeah,
sometimes I feel like I don't quite deserve it,
no, you do, and that's the thing, right? Because
it's
like
I'm so grateful for that too, and
yeah,
for the
and it's
people that are
funny
on
because
here.
the way we met and the way the way we when we first connected and we've grown and we learn a lot from each other, and like the energy that you put out, like people feel it, right? And you could do it, and I hope to be the same way when I talk and I put something out. But like the way I was drawn to you was the way that you were just basically like, hey, what's up? And we just kind of started talking and we had this connection over music, and it seemed like nothing else mattered, right? We didn't care about each other's backgrounds or where we were from. Like I love learning about you, like talking about Sweden and you growing up and your time in Canada and stuff like that. Like that's awesome to me because I like hearing about different cultures and different parts of the world. But like we connect over music, which was awesome because that's like that's our baseline, and then everywhere we go from there, it always goes back to the music. So we have different lifestyles, we have different cultures, we have different thoughts and stuff, but the music is what brings us together, and we learn a lot from each other. So like to me, that's what I think like humanity should be about, right? To get to know your fellow brother and learn a little bit and maybe gain some knowledge, and then like all the bands you've introduced me to and stuff like that, like that's awesome. And and I love hearing about your story, and it's just so unique because not many people have this kind of background that you have, and it's really important that it goes along with the arsenic name because they know where you come from and they know where you're at. So that's kind of the big thing.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I mean, you're definitely you have a lot of enthusiasm too, and the curiosity is super genuine too, right? Which makes it so much more fun to
Yeah.
talk to someone like you as well, because like you are listening, you are paying attention, and you're asking questions. And again, like you said, we're different people, different backgrounds, different whatever opinions we may have or whatever, but with that mindset still is like, yeah, but everybody's different,
Yeah,
everybody has
and
a
that's
different
it.
opinion
Right. That's
on
exactly it.
everything, so it's like it would be a terrible world if we weren't able to sort of still enjoy people's company, like,
Yeah, and
I
that's
mean,
exactly it. And and the thing is like I said, our baseline was music, but I mean like getting to know you and getting to know your background and getting to know your story and your passions and your like that's like that means a lot to me, right? That we got to know each other's backgrounds and where we come from and where we want to go and what we want to do, and we include each other in it. And that's what makes me want this for you, right? Like to have this music career that you have wanted for a very long time, and you kind of took a break, and you've been open about it, about going to the 9 to 5 and hitting the grind to make money, and now you're a whole new universe of the unknown, like, which is awesome because a lot of people wouldn't have that kind of determination that you have or the will to succeed. And and people can learn from you, right? Like imagine you make it and now your story is really follow your dreams, and you could say I've done it, right? I had a dream, I lost it, I went into the corporate world, and now I got it back. There's no time, better time than now, right? So your story could be huge, and and somebody in their 30s that says, well, I don't know where I'm going to go, right? I don't know what I'm in a dead end job and I hate it and it's not what I like, and it's not. Maybe you convince them to chase their passion, whatever it may be, right? So you could be that pinnacle for a lot of people. It's crazy to think that like you make this happen. Your story is amazing. So
thank you. Yeah, no, and I wish the same for you. But I mean, one thing that I've learned is, luck only comes to those people that have open minds, right?
right,
Luck luck is coming across something that is a surprise. If you have blindfold on, or blinders or whatever, then your field of view is not seeing those
sure,
surprises or the
yeah,
opportunities that comes around. So that's the one thing. The open mind, positive attitude, then luck happens much more often. And I've had my share of luck and bad luck too.
I
But
agree. I mean, we all have, right? We learn from our mistakes, and
both
right,
things happen with
that's
that
it, right?
mindset, right?
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
know,
but how you react is a choice,
that's
right?
it, right?
So
But
you can choose to react by being beaten down, or you can choose to react by picking yourself up and get going. So
yeah, and that's awesome. And like I said, I want the best for you. That's why I keep asking about the music and stuff and everything you put out. I share, and hopefully one day it hits somebody ears that matter. And the next thing you know, it's like, how do I get a hold of this guy? And you get that, you get that telephone call, and that couple-minute conversation might change your life, and that's what I'm pulling for.
Yeah, yeah. I'm working towards it.
You'll do it,
and
for sure.
It can only happen if you keep doing it. So
That's it.
I'll
So-
keep doing it.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see what you have in store and what we have next. I don't know what's going on in the next few weeks. We try to, me and Kelly have this kind of weird thing where I'll text him and he'll be like, hey, I'm really busy this week. Can we go next week? And I'll be like, hey, I got something going on. Can we do it? So we don't ever know. We try to aim for Thursdays, guys, but it doesn't always happen. But just bear with us. We'll keep you guys posted on what we're doing. We like to say we'll see you next week, but that may not happen. So we just kind of go as it comes, and we don't really plan this out as much as we used to. We kind of go on the fly, but it's what makes it special and unique. So
Yeah, no, and that's part of the fun too. Like it's a box of chocolates.
yeah,
So
that's
it's a good time.
exactly. So with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap this up. We said we weren't going to be on very long. We just wanted to come on just to kind of share where we're at and what we're doing and what we got going on. Like I said, guys, tomorrow I'll be at Buck Cherry. I am going to live stream that. I did make a video 2 days ago about when I do my live stream, guys. So again, if you're watching it and I'm not responding to you, I'm there to watch the show. That's kind of the reason I go, and I just want to bring you guys along to see it. But I'm not going to be able to respond and interact with it as the show's going on. I'm there to watch the show. I just want to bring you guys along. So tomorrow's Buck Cherry, and we'll see what happens next.
Awesome. Have fun there. And if something happens next week, happy Halloween to everybody. And,
Yeah.
see you on that.
For sure. Yeah, so we'll do that, and we'll keep in touch, guys. And as Kelly drops new music, you'll see it through me. So follow Arsenic, guys. Go do his thing. Go on Spotify. Go on Apple Music. All the major streaming platforms. Look at Arsenic. Download the stuff. It's awesome. So support Kelly and what he's got going on, and do the thing.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
We'll see you next week, and we'll go from there. So we'll keep you posted on what's going on, and stay tuned for the next one, guys. Talk to you soon.